Good evening, everybody, and welcome along once again to Apex Online Racing. This is Season 19 of Xbox One F1, and we are here at round number 7 tonight at Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix, first held in 2004, and the circuit holds the record for the highest number of overtakes during the Grand Prix, and that was in 2016. It costed $400 million to make, and it was transformed into one of motorsport's most impressive modern facilities. This track also marks the F1's 1000th Grand Prix Championship race last year in 2019, and it was also the track where we saw Michael Schumacher took his last F1 victory ahead of Alonso and Fisichella back in 2006. Let's have a look at the track. 5.4 kilometers long with 16 turns, 7 to the left and 9 to the right. We've got 2 DRS zones, with one being at the start-finish straight and one being at turns 13 and 14. It's going to be a test for the drivers today because of the balance you need to find between being quick around the long corners and maintaining the life at that precious front left tyre. The fastest race lap time was set by Michael Schumacher in 2004 with a 1:32.238. We have a 50% race which consists of an 18-minute qualifying session to the side of the grid with 28 racing laps at a race distance of approximately 152 kilometers. 3 compounded tyres used for today's race, which is the softs, which is the C4s, the mediums, the C3s, and the hards, which is the C2s. And tyre degradation is a bit trickier on this track. One of the trickiest on the calendar. Softs' optimum pace is only 5 to 7 laps, so most likely for the first time in a while, we'll see the mediums to hard strategy. And joining me in the commentary box for this evening's race is the lovely, the beautiful, it is Dicer. How are you doing, Dicer? And I think we seem to have lost. Are you there? The party just gone for a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
Back.
Yeah. Welcome back, Dicer.
Yeah, great to be here. Obviously, a track that's its track limits are easy, so we should see less sort of penalties deciding the race and more actual racing. Obviously, there's mainly just one strategy going here, which is the mediums to the hards. But the softs to hards is an option if you can manage the tyre wear. But obviously that is extremely hard considering the softs do not last very long at all. But it's a one-shot quali then basically, with the mediums to hards being the only strategy. So it could be anyone's game qualifying really. If you can put one good lap in on the mediums, you could be set for the whole race if you know how to defend on this track, because it does promote overtaking a lot this track. But if you can defend and you know how to defend, if you get a good qualifying, you could be set for the race, which means that this could be anyone's game.
Exactly. I'm still having troubles connecting to the lobby right now. I think there's still people readying up, I believe. So I might need to have a new invite or something, or they might be doing a lobby restart. We'll have to wait and see. Are you having the same problems, or are you in the lobby?
Yep. I've just got Christo constantly loading in for me, so I think there is a problem. Okay. I think there might have to be a lobby restart.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So it's not just me then. I was panicking that it was just me, but hopefully it will quickly restart the lobby, and hopefully the drivers will get there soon. But let's talk about some of the drivers actually whilst we wait, because it is going to take a while to join. And as soon as Christo leaves, we get to in the lobby. But I think we're going to have a lobby restart anyway, just to make it fair. There's quite a few people have left the session. I'm going to do the same actually, and Ewan is just on another level today. He's going to be one step closer in a few rounds time to possibly taking the title, maybe also, and Jam Pancakes as well, doing very well this season. It's going to be a good championship rivalry between those two.
Definitely. Obviously now we're past the halfway mark in the season, everything's starting to sort of refine on who can and who will be fighting for the championship this season. Obviously those two sort of take the mark when it comes to people that you think could be champions this season. Ewan extremely strong for every single race. Obviously
and I think we seem to have lost Dicer for a little bit there, I think. Yes, we have. I think Xbox Party
last week just romping over it makes him a strong contender.
Yeah, definitely. And also we've seen the likes of lots of other people getting a good result last week. And pretty much, Connor, also known as Amaze, he got the Showman Award last week for the most insane amount of overtakes on a harder tyre that's been on the track for pretty much most of the race. It is a one-stop race, of course. And he just did it without any problems at all. He did struggle towards the end, that's why he had to pit for soft. But, you know, he wasn't our driver of the day, but he definitely was Showman of the day. Can he do the same tonight?
I mean, obviously he's hoping not to be disqualified tonight, as that wasn't the greatest way to end such an amazing show of the night. But if he can defend anything like that, then he's well and truly going to be... cameras are going to be on him again, because he managed to take the draw away from even the top racers, who those two are fighting, yet still he was taking the top mark because he was just being able to defend so much. It was such old tyres, and he had DRS against him. He didn't have DRS at all, and he was being able to hold up this massive queue of cars and not letting anyone by, and pulling off some amazing defensive manoeuvres. If anyone can do that, especially when there's a qualifying, which is basically one shot around here, if he can get a good time on, he could easily be in for a great chance of a great position, because we know that he can defend, and he's shown that. So he could be a very strong contender if he can get a good qualifying in.
Yeah, definitely. And Amaze has promised us he will do exactly the same tonight, but he said that he wants to score higher tonight, so maybe he will start on a different strategy. But due to the fact that softs can only last 5 laps, he can actually start on the mediums like last week, so he could do exactly the same thing. So it might be a warm-up last week, where this week is the actual real thing for Amaze. You never know, but hopefully, I hope he scores points, but I'm being a little bit biased. I'm actually going to try and get the standings for you whilst we wait for this lobby to load us. I think as soon as Christo left, the lobby was fine again, but obviously a lot of other people left, so it's unfair if we start without them, because obviously they would have migrated to a different host and stuff like that. But yeah, apart from Connor and Ewan and Jam Pancakes, who has been your other standout this season?
I mean, I've got to say, if we're going to go on race pace alone, I've got to say I might even give it to Bobbert, because he's like, though if we're going on qualifying pace, it's quite hard to say because everyone's been really mixed up, but race pace and being able to manoeuvre their way through the field, it's got to be Bobbert. Constantly, he's always on top of his game on being able to make overtakes and being able to push through the field a lot. He's pulled off some worldies, especially with his two drive-throughs. Definitely didn't help him at all throughout those 2 races, but he's somehow been able to pull it back to some really, really strong points. So if he can hold himself together throughout the whole race and even get some qualifying, he could definitely be someone to look out for as well. He's a very strong driver, and he's shown that in previous seasons. He just needs to really kind of work on his qualifying. Obviously, he's been using his teammate a lot. We've seen a lot of Renault teamwork that probably won't be of use that much this race, but if he can get a good qualifying, and he could be quite strong in the future, because his race pace is definitely there. He's got a very strong race pace and seems to be every single circuit.
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at his results actually. So he got a 3rd in Bahrain, a 6th in Silverstone, an 8th in Japan, 10th in Italy, 11th in Belgium, and a 6th place in USA. So the only race he's been outside the points, it was Belgium, and that was obviously the rerun. So, you know, he's been at the points nearly every single race and got a podium as well. I mean, you know, he's been a force to be reckoned with as well. And Adam Dude as well, another person who I think something to watch out for as well. He's 3rd in the standings at the moment. We'll go through the standings in a second, but he had 2 second places. One in Britain, which was kind of like, actually it was Japan that had rain affected, not Britain. But he had a good result in Britain, and obviously he also had a good result in Italy as well. So yeah, that was great to see. And he hasn't been outside, he hasn't scored outside the points, he's only scored in the points as well. Most of the people in the top 4 have done that, really, which was great to see as well. Clenzo up there in 4th place, he's done a good job there as well. And Humperdinck in 5th place. Pietro, he got his season off to a great start, but last race wasn't the best for him. He only scored 12th place, and Obviously, he had a new teammate last week. He had to get used to his style, but his teammate is not here tonight. I'm not going to tell why, but unfortunately, he suffered a slight accident in real life, and he's kind of hurt. So get better soon, Ollie, if you're watching. He's probably watching the stream right now, so get better soon. But yeah, I think, as far as I'm aware, I'm going to switch back now. Just be sure. I think we are about to load into the lobby. We're keeping our fingers crossed, so touch wood, and it's overcast.
So definitely, it's dry, definitely, which means the one-shot qualifying will probably come into effect unless there is someone who feels like they can somehow take the softs around 7 laps and then be able to pull off an amazing. Well, I mean, the hards to us aren't too hard, but there's one thing that is really quite bad for the softs, and is that it does say on the telemetry that it is only 2 seconds slower, which does not seem like that much, and the tyre wear is not too bad on the telemetry, but it doesn't take into effect tyre temperature. Tyre temperature is a lot on this circuit, and tyre temperature, obviously it heats up your tyres, but that means that they wear a lot more. So unless something like a safety car comes out in the early corners, people who do choose to go on the softs, which I don't think it'll be very many, mainly I feel like it would be people that are towards the end of the championship, because it's track position over what could be a very painful race. But it's obviously a terrible choice, if I'm going to say, because again, it's just you're butchering your race pace for track position. But if you can make it work and keep control of the tyre temperature, it could be something to look out for. We do see quite a lot of people on the softs at the moment and a load on the mediums, which makes me think that maybe it could actually be a wet race, or at least going into a wet race, because a lot of people are doing their banker laps on the mediums, and the tyre compound selection that you want to choose here is harder. So you only get 2 sets of softs, meaning that if you were wanting to start the mediums, you choose your hards as your banker, which makes it does think that this could maybe be a wet race. There's a high potential for weather changing in China. So a lot of people taking bankers on mediums. This does really make me think that there could be rain.
I will double check actually, because I have told the drivers to give me a weather report. But yeah, if it isn't raining,
It's just started raining.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be and so basically people have got to get their laps in now, and then that's it. But
those on the softs could have just done an absolute worldie.
Yeah, there is people in the chat absolutely ricking themselves right now. So I am just going to double check quickly the weather. The last weather affected race was Japan. I think it was either Japan or Britain. Where it was actually it was Britain. Actually, it said on the standings it was Japan, but I swear
Japan,
it was Britain. It was
Japan
Britain.
was because it was that really awkward stage where it was wet but not wet enough to go onto intermediate tyres.
Oh, okay. So I've just been told, but I'm not sure to believe this, but I have been told by the drivers. We are going to see, in a long time in Xbox One F1, a full wet race from start to finish. So strategies is going to throw completely out the window from memes to hard. So what I talked about at the beginning of the stream, scrap that. They'll have to worry about wet tyres for this race. And that's going to be very tricky, especially around a very demanding circuit around these high-speed corners, which require a lot of downforce.
Definitely. I mean, people in the quality, people who have decided to go out on the softs instead of taking bankers on the mediums could be in a very strong position at the moment, because it has started to rain. Whether or not it will actually affect the tyres too much, depending on how heavy it is at the moment, but such a demanding circuit, especially around the third sector. You've got that long right-hander. That could be a very easy place to go wide and maybe spin your car, so there's a lot to look out for, definitely. And depending on how these guys can deal with the wet, whether or not these guys have done any wet practice, will definitely show, because this is quite a tricky circuit to do in the wet. It's very easy to lose your car, and qualifying could completely spin this around, because Jam Pancakes, one of the championship contenders, who might be starting on the mediums depending on how heavy this weather is and whether or not it will stay. He's done a very, very solid lap though on the mediums. That is extremely strong to start off with.
Pietro's is even stronger, 1:31.4 on the softs, but he can go on the softs actually because it's going to be a full wet race. So if I were you, as long as the weather doesn't get that worse, they would. I saw a lot of people going out of the pit lane really quickly on the soft compounded tyres, which did suggest it was going to be a full wet race, or inters, because why wouldn't they? Because obviously I've seen the PC tier at 8 PM, and I did see quite a lot of people on the medium compounded tyres that set their laps. Obviously they had to start on the mediums, of course, because otherwise they would struggle at the start of the race. But a few people wanted a pole for the glory. But yeah, this is going to be absolutely intense for these drivers. They weren't hoping this. China is difficult at the best of times. We could see some safety cars like we've seen every race so far. I think probably like since Britain, I think we've seen safety cars in every race. We might have seen one in Bahrain as well. I did that all by myself, but it was still a really intense race, I must say. But yeah, it's Clenzo 1:31.0 on these wet conditions. That's amazing from Clenzo. I wasn't expecting him to be up there.
I mean, it's the soft compounded tyre, so it will be a bit easier. But in these conditions, obviously lap times are going to be a lot slower. So you're going to sort of have to make rough predictions on how much the tyres, the weather is slowing down the tyres. So the soft compounded tyre, they will be a bit faster, but 4/10 faster than his other soft runner, Pietro. Pietro is probably going to want to increase on that time a little bit because he's sort of in the mix of where the medium runners seem to be. Connor Eddy setting a lap there. You can tell that the weather is starting to sort of degrade the pace of the softer compounded tyre, because a lot more soft runners are setting slower laps to the people that have gone out straight away. But it's still a long way to go, and the weather seems to be quite light, so it doesn't look like we'll be switching to intermediates in the qualifying, but the race will be a complete different story. Obviously full wets, which means you'll basically have, if you have a car in front of you, you will basically see nothing except for their spray. You're going to have to sort of depend on your braking zones, on what you can see to your left and right, and where they're really going to brake. So obviously collisions could be a factor in here, depending on how heavy the rain is and how much the spray is really. So around a track around here, we could definitely see some safety cars, and it could definitely be a very tough race for the drivers. But we've really just got to wait and see, because we need to see if the qualifying times will stick to how they are. Everyone seems to be going on the softs now. Yeah, so definitely you can tell the tyres are starting to fall off a little bit in this weather. But you can't really make predictions in this kind of weather because everything's changing constantly, and the race is going to be a completely different story.
Exactly. I wonder if a few of these drivers checked the weather a bit too late. Because I always check the weather at the start. The first thing I do before I load any setup or any strategy on this game, on a 50% race, is check the weather. Because then it helps me decide if I was to put a dry setup on or a wet setup. And that's why the times are going to be a lot slower, due to the fact they'll have a full wet setup for qualifying. Because you can't have a dry setup around China in the wet. It's literally impossible. I tried it and I was sliding everywhere because I had a wet to dry race on Friday around China itself, and it was very tricky in itself. It was on inters, not full wets, but you know, I seem to be struck with weather in China, so I'm guessing China is more prone to any track on this game into getting wet weather. So you know, I think the gods have spoken. As a few people about to sell their laps once again, and we could see a short end to qualifying, I must say, unless the rain gets any. I can't tell if it's getting any worse or it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So they need to get out and do their laps now before it's too late.
And as you were saying, sort of the whole whether or not people were checking the weather. You saw a lot of them come out on the medium, so they probably saw the wet weather race, but probably didn't pay too much attention to the wet qualifying, because it was straight away bang. As soon as you see someone just starting their lap, it turns wet. So obviously they've had to come in, they've had to switch onto the softs. Everyone's on the softs now. it's extremely clear that it will be a wet race if there were any doubts before. But it's but yeah, it's just rain getting much worse this qualifying. As you say, it could be doors closed now for all the guys wanting to make improvements. Obviously, those on the mediums are probably going to make an improvement because, I mean, well, it's on the mediums, so they are the slower tyre as it is. But whether or not it'll be an improvement as much as someone like Cleanso to be able to get up there in these conditions will be a real struggle. But obviously, we've still got quite a few extraordinarily fast people who still set a time on the softs. So still quite a bit to play for, but how long will it be to play for? Because everything is going worse and worse and worse. By the looks of it, Amaze going up into second there, still showing that strong, and Ewan going into the 30s in these conditions. Wow, that is a very strong time from him. Still got Jam Pancakes though to try and dethrone him, and that's someone else pushing up. That was Raven pushing up. So still quite a lot of people setting good times and proving that this weather will not stop them. But that just proves the pace of these guys. They're top tier, and you can tell they're being able to keep control of the car and put in some amazing times in these conditions, which is an achievement on its own, really.
I can't even get into the 130s in the dry.
Oh my.
Bobberts? 130.7. Well, this is one of those tracks where, you know, if you get a good lap on the soft tyres, you can absolutely nail it. And on the wets, that is amazing. I don't know what the world record is around Xbox China. Do you know on the dries?
No, I'm not sure at all.
Oh, right, okay, because I don't have a clue, but they must be not that far off. I mean, I wasn't expecting Bobberts to be up there. Surely Jam Pancakes is going to be up there somewhere too. Let's follow Jam Pancakes. As he's improved. He's improved in sector 2, but I don't think it's not quite enough. He's purple sector 2. Purple, wow.
That's my screen.
Nope, it's not your screen. I'm seeing purple too. So, wow, that is going to be good. I don't think he had a good sector 1 though. So, we'll have to wait and see as a lot of people are going into the pits. So I think they're realising that these conditions are getting worse and worse. Flying Rosie, the only driver not to set a lap time yet. I think it's going to be too little too late for him. But let's go on board with Jam Pancakes as he goes through the final corner into turns 15 and 16 then. Can he dethrone Bobberts and Ewan off the top spot? Let's find out. Yes, he can. 130.642. He was fastest in the final sector as well. Amazing. Imagine if he was faster in sector 1. I didn't see if he was fastest in sector 1, but if he wasn't,
that's in these wet.
I'm just absolutely speechless with Jam Pancakes lap. I mean, how did he put that out of the bag? I mean, you know, I'm sorry for being speechless, Dyser, but this is shaping to be a very good race if they keep this up. I mean, hopefully we won't see any problems, but we do seem to have party issues. So if Dyser keeps cutting out, then sorry about that. I think it's just obviously because the coronavirus outbreak. We're having a few issues at the moment, but because obviously a lot of people are on having the internet. But right, Jam Pancakes before we go into the pits right now. Who else is on a lap that we can follow? I don't think anyone is. I don't think anyone's going to go faster. Do you think anyone's going to go faster?
Faster than that, you can see how heavy the rain was coming down, and he's still, Jam Pancakes being able to put in an awesome third sector in these conditions. It's just getting too wet now, though. I think him being able to put out a third sector like that was crazy. Someone being able to put out a whole lap in these conditions, that's just incapable. I don't think it's possible. A lot of people are pulling out their laps, but I feel like that could have been. There was an incident with I think it was Rosie. He spun at the first corner, which just shows that tyres are really starting to hurt now. These guys, Rosie, big trouble for him. It's, as you said, too little, too late, and you can see now he's just hard for him to keep control of the car at all.
He's invalidated again.
Things going. Yeah, a lot of things going wrong for him, and not being able to set a lap in early doors. It's just too wet. It's too wet now. It's pushing into the points where it will probably be less than a couple of seconds. The intermediates faster, no, sorry, slower than the softs. Lefted, he's decided to retire his car for obvious reasons, not being able to set anything faster than that. But that is looking like what could be potentially the top three there, which is quite surprising, especially having Bobbitt's up there. He pulled out a wonder of a lap and somehow Jam Pancakes beat it. But I feel like that will probably be the end of qualifying for now, unless someone pulls something amazing out.
Yeah, well, I think so as well, which is a shame, because I wanted qualifying to go to the bitter end, but, you know, it happens sometimes. The weather decides to throw a spanner in the works, and to be honest, I'm glad we decided to check the weather report, because otherwise I would have been confused why people will be going on the soft compounded tyres. But I was going to ask for our top three predictions for the quali, but I think it's probably going to be set in stone at the moment, unless Clenzo's going out again. And he's about to start his third lap, I think, in his final lap. So, you know, and he's how on earth he's doing turn one in the wet that fast? It's just incredible. I mean, he's having good car control. He's fourth in the standings, so no means feat in saying that he slid a little bit. So yeah, I don't think he's going to improve on that time at all.
I don't feel like people will be improving. I feel like people are just going out for the fun of it now, really. Seeing if they can survive these horribly wet conditions. Raven, to be honest, like, there's a few people out here which I feel like have really benefited from this. Raven, he's just trying to retire his car now, but Raven, Connor, Eddie, both in the top 10 here. Both very strong laps, being able to take the car and put a solid lap in straight away. But as you can see, people like Flying Rosie, he left it too late there. He left it way too late, and there we go. He retires with nearly over a second slower than 15th. So only a few more cars are actually out on track, and I don't feel like they'll be lasting much longer, to be honest. This weather seems to be looking insufferable. So it's really sort of. I feel like it's just going to be the end now. I feel like these cars are probably going to retire, and you might even see a premature end to qualifying. A few people still trying, but you can see, especially through turn one and around the far right-hander, it's really difficult. You can tell the drivers are not having fun at all in that, and they're just dropping like flies now. Adam Doody's still going to try his lap though. Let's see what he can do. He's taking the first corner very nicely, to be honest. Is he just going to get a nice nick of the apex? Yes, he will. Good turning circle, especially in these conditions. But this would definitely be a struggle in the exit. Obviously, not getting as much traction as he probably would have liked, but he's still being able to get a very decent exit from it. He comes down now into the hairpin. He's going to have a little bit less traction than he would have wanted to gain. Obviously, not being able to have the greatest of turning. He's going to have to let off quite a bit more now than when it would be at the start of the session. You could just see rain splattering on the screen. It's really not looking particularly good for him. But as he comes up to the snail corner and he's completely thrown his lap, and I feel like that'll probably be it. I don't feel like anyone else, no one else is on a lap. Jam Pancakes feel like he's just on a lap for fun, really.
For the stream, probably. For the stream, to just show off that he's on pole position. But we'll see. We'll give a clue. He was only 5/10 off his best in the wet. What? How on earth did he do that? He's still managing to get into the 131s in this wet conditions. That is top class right there. You can tell he's not taking it too seriously at the moment. He's weaving. So, you know. Yeah, Jam Pancakes is on pole. With Bobbers, I believe, is still out as well. But obviously, he's not going to improve. So he goes into the pits. Just hope they retire because we need to get on with this race. Yeah, they are. Getting a bit of slipstream. There they go. They go into the pits now. Well, Bobbers goes into the pits. It would have been quicker if they crossed the line. But hey ho. We'll just wait for Bobbers to go into the pits now. And he's retired anyway. That's good. Right. So, Jam Pancakes on pole position. I think I can't remember how many poles he's got, but this is definitely not his first. I think it's his third, I believe, because I know T10 Shadow got one, Ewan's got a few as well, and obviously Jam Pancakes. No one else has got pole in this league. So we'll go through the results. So we got Jam Pancakes from Bobbers, from Ewan, from Clenzo, from Amaze, and Pietro in 6th, Raven 7, Connor Rennie in 8th place. That's a decent qualifying result. I think you'll be pleased with that. Z-Tech in 9th, Adam Doon in 10th, and then we've got LGS 11th, Lefted in 12th, Christo in 13th, the Humperdinck in 14th, Tribian in 15th, and Flying Rosie with an he's the only person who qualified his lap on the medias with a 134 in last place. So, how heavy is it? Let's go to the track right now. I think I know. Yeah, it's not nice at all. I'm about to get my umbrella now. Are you going to get your umbrella? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Right.
I'm soaked. But anyway, it's 20. I think it's like 28 laps. I think around China, if I remember, and it's gonna last probably about 50 minutes now. I think due to the full wet conditions at the end. And as far as I'm aware, I know it was probably the same in the 2018 game. I know it happened in the 2018 game. I don't think they have to pit at all. If they want to, they could stay on the full wets for the whole race. I think if it's going to be full wets for all of it. But that will be a risk because I know tyre deg is bad around here. So if I was them, I would definitely pit throughout this race because otherwise you're going to struggle towards the end of the race with puncture territory.
Definitely. It's definitely going to be a one-stop for these guys. You can maybe, I've seen people pull it off around tracks like Japan. You can maybe pull it off, but full wet conditions, obviously they last longer than intermediates. But I really don't feel like it could be a no-stop. I feel like it's got to be a one-stop because you're going to be probably hitting punctures around, I'd say, probably lap 20 of what the intermediates I can see can last. That's when you're going to be hitting around puncture territory. But it's completely thrown up now, this race. Honestly, it's basically same strategy for everybody. No one's going to have any strategic advantage at all. And it's literally going to be who has decided to practice in the wets or not. It's completely chucking it down. Looks like there will be no chance at all of slicks. A lot of people under fueling, basically everybody under fueling. There's no real need to have any sort of fuel in your car because you just make it back instantly. But Flying Rosie put himself at a big disadvantage. But I say that. It's wets. Who knows? Who knows at all? It's a completely new track. It's completely new braking zones, and it's just everything is changing.
You could hardly
Who knows
see.
What could happen?
You could hardly see.
You can't see at all.
I mean, that's worse. Actually, I've driven around China in the full wets before. It is not nice at all. You could just hardly see it. But to be honest, it wasn't as worse as this. I mean, it was full wets for the whole race, but it wasn't as heavy as this. This is like monsoon conditions. I mean, how are they going to do this? I don't know. But before we start the race, who is your top 3 prediction?
Oh Lord, this is going to be a tough one. I've got to say Jam Pancakes first, just because he managed to handle the car wets on soft tyre. Then I'm gonna go. I'd say Ewan. He seemed pretty strong. I know it's quite basic. And then I'm going to go for... Let's go Amazed in 3rd. I feel like he knows how to defend. And this is a track where defending is a lot. And if he can keep control of the car, then he could be set. Because there's going to be people really spilling it around. And he looks like, from what I've seen in the last race, he knows how to control a car very well on rough conditions because of how old his tyres were. Basically like driving on ice, and he's driving on water now, so correlation there, I don't know, but I thought he knows how to control a car in rough conditions, so I feel like he could be in for a good result.
I don't think I'm going to get my predictions in because everyone is going up on the grid, but I'm going to say Jam Pancakes Ewan, and I'm going to put Pietro up there in 3rd place. Those are my predictions. There we go. So anyway, the 5 red lights on this 28-lap Grand Prix. Full wet conditions. The first wet race on Xbox One F1 this season. And we are underway. say, there was a bit of a long hold there, but everyone got away cleanly so far. We got Jam Pancakes off to a very good start. Someone has already gone off already. That is a racing point, I believe, and also it was Clenzo as well. He's dropped quite a bit as well. Huge contact at the back. Already we've got Christo, and I think it was Flying Rosie who got caught up as well. I mean, they've had a really awful start. I wasn't expecting anyone to make it clean through turn 1. You just can hardly see a thing. We've got a hat that's gone off. That's Ewan. Ah. We should have made predictions, should we?
Pietro. Oh, there's so much in the midfield. This is awesome. Raven's up into P3. Amazing from him. Amazed in P4. Connor Eddy looking up the inside of Amazed. Amazed is going to hit Adam Dude there. They've just collided. Luckily, no damage there. That was really, really good though. Pietro, he had a bit of a rough start there. Obviously, these wet conditions. Everyone's bumping alongside each other. All that's left it getting taken into the dumpster by Pietro. They dropped a lot of positions. Clenzo's somehow been able to make his way all the way up. Loads of touching here. And that's going to be Humperdinck going up the inside of Zetex. Zetex is not going to be having any of that. And somehow they're going side by side for a right-hander in these conditions. That is crazy. That's the 2 Red Bulls in 3rd and 4th as well. That's awesome. Adam D's going to try and break those 2 up. But I don't think he's going to have enough in his locker unless Cornelius is going to take that inside line. He chooses not to. He chooses to take the outside line and maybe just hope for no collision. This is some crazy racing to start off with. Adam Dude going up the inside, and I think he's made it work, but a good exit there somehow in these conditions. He's been able to keep perfect traction and keep it straight. A load of people overtaking everywhere there. Jam Pancakes has put out a 1 second gap, but like that means anything in these conditions. A huge start from the Red Bulls and a huge start from everyone, but Adam Dude, he's still going at Connor Eddy. He's not letting him go at all. Going side by side again. How are these guys doing this? It is insane. But along they go, and that's going to be a Williams trying to get up, and that's Amazed. Amazed has dropped a few positions there, but he's still looking to stay in the fight of things. That's 2 people in the pits. That's LGS. He must have got caught up as well, but I think things may be calming down here. And no, they're not. Amazed. What? He's dive bombing it in the wet, and he's made it work. But will it be the switchback from Connor Eddy? No, it won't. Wow, what a way to start off a race, and somehow only 2 people got damage enough to box.
That's just, I don't know how these guys are doing this really well. Great job from the 2 Red Bulls. I mean, Connor Eddy starting from 8th place. Raven, let me just look at where he started. Let me get position changes. Raven started probably 9th place, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So he started in front of his teammate. I'm guessing they worked a lot well together on both of them to control this best of rest situation on this race. And Adam Dude has dropped back from Raven. Raven is now 8 tenths now clear of Adam Dude. I mean, I know in the dry it's less, but in the wet that's incredibly big gap to mention, because obviously you can't get DRS, you can't get as much downforce, but you know, I would say I think we could see a shake-up in this race. I think we could see people that we don't expect to be at the top, near the top, and I'm calling that right now.
Definitely awesome racing from Raven, and everything's going to be changing here. The defensive line is now just going to be the dry line, really, because switchbacks are going to be really, really, really strong, because that dry line is so much faster than the slippy wet line. Bob was getting a bit of taste of that through his exit of turn 2 there, but still so close between everyone. We've got Humperdinck. He's gained quite a lot of positions as well. He's definitely pinnacleized on everyone sort of spinning and having a bit of a mess up there. At the start of the race, everyone was completely sideways, basically, which really helped the leaders get away. And Raven, awesome from him. He's still holding that second gap, and you can tell he definitely practiced these wet conditions. He has romped away from where he started off as. He started off in a decent qualifying position for him, but he's just taken it away. He's taken the show so far. Same with Connor Eddy. Obviously, Connor Eddy, he doesn't seem as fast as his teammate. He's got a bit of a line that he's holding up, but he's still just taking the show. And that is another that is Flying Rosie. Again, he's not enjoying the conditions there.
No.
But everyone else seems to be pretty steady at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed in a few wet races I've taken part in, if it's full wets, they take it cautious. But these guys, they go for it. But obviously, they can make it cleaner and make it stick. But Adam, dude, he's putting out all the stops as well. He wants that third place in the championship. And with Ewan down in 13th, that is going to change the championship up massively if Ewan stays there. This could give Jam Pancakes an absolute lifeline right now to close the championship gap in already. I mean, Jam Pancakes had a brilliant result last week from Ewan. I mean, you know, there's nothing stopping these two, but we talked about this earlier whilst we waited for the lobby to start, but Adam, dude, he's going to try and go for a lunge around the inside of Raven. No, he's a bit too far off the pace for that. Again, I think a lot more people will be saving ERS in these wet conditions because you won't be using that high ERS in the wet. Adam, dude, he's going to get the outside. No, less traction, I think, from the Haas driver, and Raven stays P3. Great defending from him.
Absolutely great defending for Raven. He's been on top of his game. I know I've said it quite a lot. He's been on top of his game today. From his qualifying to the start of his race, it's been really strong from him. Obviously, as you were saying, these guys are going for a lot more moves than usual. This can result in quite a few incidents. These guys are extraordinarily fast and extraordinarily consistent, so they do seem like they're being able to work things out between them. Connor Eddy dropping a position, they're going a bit wide down on the Humperdinck, but Humperdinck being able to take the position smoothly, and he gains another position on what's been an amazing race start from him. But as you were saying, they're going for a lot more moves, and this could be shown to Adam Dude and Raven. Raven actually giving up the dry line, but Adam Dude breaking very early there, not choosing to make an overtake here, but he's forced Raven into a mistake. He's twisted his arm back, and he's going to go for it, and somehow he's managed to snatch that half a bit of dry line and get that tiny bit better traction, and he moves himself onto the podium, not for the first time. But just showing then, these guys, they make their moves perfectly. They perfectly time them. Obviously, there's quite a few places you can go for an overtake in this track. These guys are definitely making it work, but they're doing it with caution and strategy. Adam Dude not actually lunging at Raven, but making Raven think that he's going to go for it, causing Raven to go that little bit wider, which made him lose a ton of time. He's now over a second behind Adam Dude, and amazed, just a slip onto that white line for Raven completely messed him up there. That is not what you want to be doing on this track at all, especially within these conditions.
Yeah, I would agree with that, to be honest, because, you know, I mean, Raven with that mistake, it could cost him towards the end of this Grand Prix, and you don't want to do that. You can see he's struggling a little bit, and
as bad as his teammate has lost positions here, he's dropping them like I don't know, he's just dropping positions immensely. He's clearly not that strong in the wets, and it looks like Clenzo's now going to make a move, and he does, and that is now down to P10 for the Red Bull driver, if he chooses to take it. No, he's trying to fight for his position, and that could have actually made him lose P10 as well, and it has. Christo's got that dry line, he's got the racing line, and he's got the position.
Oh, that's amazing right now, and Connor Eddy has gone off. Clenzo's up into 9th place. What is going on with this race? I mean, this is absolutely amazing. There is places being left all over the shop. Connor Eddy's now dropped 4 places in this race. He's not liking the wets at all. He is, you know, I think we cursed him quite a bit, Dicer, and I do apologise to Connor Eddy because I know him very well, but that's Ewan up into 11th. He struggled a bit in that final corner. I mean, there's one other thing we've got to mention as well. The drivers have been warned about track limits across the final corner. You can take advantage of that, but if we catch that driver on stream taking advantage of those track limits, or if another driver catches it on their POV that the other driver has taken advantage of it, they will be given a penalty added to the end of this race. So we are watching as close as we can. Meanwhile, Clenzo is seizing up an opportunity on Christo once again. Crystal in 9th place as well. Oh, Connor Eddie, I believe, or is trying to go around. Actually, no, it's Ewan actually going around the outside in the wet. Around that corner? How on earth did he do that? Ewan up into 10th place. Incredible.
He's amazing comeback drive already. He's somehow beginning to make his way into the points now. I mean, it is only 1 point, but he's instantly got his eyes on Christo. He shows that he does have consistency and pace in the wets. We know he's got it in the dry. On the wets, he seems to be absolutely laughing. I mean, obviously his little incident at the start has definitely hindered him, but you look anywhere in the grid, and because it's wet, everyone's kind of sluggish compared to how it would be in dries. But that sort of sluggishness makes it so much more entertaining. 8 seconds is the gap between second and third, and that is tons in the dries and even more in the wets. But look, you look just behind them, it's completely nothing. Zetex goes wide, so does Christo, and look at that, they're just right on the back of each other continuously. All of these guys stretching all the way down, barely seconds between them. And I mean, Raven, I feel like he's found his pace now. He's obviously had a couple mistakes. Amazed being able to get into P4 there. One more and my predictions could have nearly been right. Ewan, obviously early doors still. I mean, I would say strategy going to come into it, but everyone seems to be in the same boat here, and it's just all up to how you feel. Ooh, sorry, that was Christo going extremely wide there, and that's going to be Ewan up into P9. It's how you feel on these tyres and how you feel in these conditions will affect your race completely. But just everyone online with each other. It's been an amazing race so far, and we're only on lap 7.
Lap 7 of 28 already, and still it's a long way to go. We're not even a third of this race yet. So that is how close it has been so far. Almost in a third though. But, you know, we'll see what happens as we get to possibly the first stint of pit stop. We don't know when they're going to pit. They're probably going to try and stretch those full wets for quite a long time. You can't do that with the soft compounder tyres. Luckily, no softs are available in this wet weather. Because imagine people using softs in these conditions. That will be worse than anything. But Jam Pancakes, he's controlling this wet race incredibly. He's doing very, very well. I'm looking at the fastest laps from these guys. A 1:49.331 is his fastest lap. Everybody except Bobbert is in the 150s. They're not matching that. A 1:49.199 now from Jam Pancakes. I mean, Bobberts, I'm surprised Bobberts to be there, but Bobbert, to be fair, Bobberts has done a lot of practice in the pool wet, and it's showing. These two, Jam Pancakes and Bobberts, they're just on another league right now. They're about, if I do my maths correctly, 12 seconds combined clear of P3.
It's crazy how those two have been able to put away. Obviously, there's been all the fighting, which has helped them, but mental. But as you said, early doors. These tyres will start to go into punch territory around lap 22, I think. The lifespan is lap 21 to 22, yeah. Alright, yeah, because around double the intermediates. So around lap 21 to 23 will be the boxing period, but early doors, we don't know if this weather could cool down. I mean, it will take quite a bit of sunshine to even take these to intermediate conditions, but still miles to go until they guys even need to box. So, you know, who knows what could happen. It could cool down a little bit, go into intermediates, and suddenly someone chooses the wrong strategy, and now Adam Dude's leading the race for all we know. But so far this race has been crazy, and look at the train from 5th downwards. It just keeps going, and it's just more and more people gaining on the train. Ewan is right at the back of it, P9. He's obviously got quite a bit of work to do to cut through this field, because if he goes too deep on an overtake on Zetex, he could be taking out Pietro, which would not be good at all for him and Pietro. So you've got to play it safe in these conditions, because braking zones are completely different and locking up is a lot more frequent. But he looks like he could maybe be going on a move, but Zetex is also going on a move, and he's somehow taken both of them, but he's gone really wide and lost both of them, and I think he might have even lost it maybe to Christo. No, Christo's just on his rear right tyre there though. That was a very, very dangerous dive bomb there, and they've all gone extremely wide, but they're going to have to compensate for the time, and Ewan does. He slots right behind Pietro, not choosing to take the position, which is the right thing to do. Obviously gaining a little bit of time by going wide, but at the same time, it's really, really risky. So as before, you were talking about track limits. If these guys do want to choose to abuse the track limits, they could really pay heavily for it, because in these conditions, you want to be sticking to the dry line at basically all costs. And I can't see where the dry line is. I can just see spray from other cars, but you want to be on that because it's so slippery. And whoa, what a move from Ewan! I was not expecting that. He's just completely barged Pietro out of the way, and that's P8 for him. But it got a lot of work if he wants to do to catch up to his championship rivals, but it's still there for him. A long way to go, and these conditions don't look like they'll be shifting soon at all.
No, as I have been told by the drivers it's going to stay like this for the whole race, so it's not going to get any better. It's literally going to be exactly the same for the entire race, so that is going to be extremely tricky. We don't know what might happen to these drivers towards the end. They may start to lose it even more, and we could see a very short, if they pit around about that 21, which is probably what most people are going to do, we could see pretty much a 7 or 8 lap dash for the positions, and we can see a lot of trains for possibly the midfield. That'll be amazing, as we've got some more battles here. Pietro is going to try and defend from the outside, but Kuhn might make it work. Cristo up into 9th place. What a move from him. But can Pietro do what he needs to try and get the place back from him? No, he doesn't. He's the first person in the pits. So I think he may just want to get his first wet stint out of the way, so then he could take it to the end maybe. But it's a bit of a gamble there if he does, because it will be less optimum on pace if he does that. But, you know, he is out of the way. He doesn't have to worry about it again unless those tyres do start to degrade a bit more. So we won't be able. It is full wets, obviously.
He's on to the intermediates.
Oh, intermediate. So it's not full wet then. Okay, that has changed things completely. And
Two people on the intermediates.
I'm looking at the weather. It is somehow the heavy rain is gone.
I'm not too sure what's going on here. I'm not sure if it will be the right option for these guys. They do look really slippery. I think they've done it a bit earlier than everyone else. I don't think it's worked at all for them, but who knows?
Only if Pietro gains time on his full wets, we should be able to see this. So we'll look at his sector 2 in a second. But meanwhile, we need to watch this battle. More battles happening on the way. Ewan in the P8 for now, and he's looking really good on those full wets. Going to challenge for P7 now. It's going to be hard to overtake on this wet line here. Let's see if Ewan can do it. He's going to get the DRS line, which is disabled in the wet conditions. He's gaining on the McLaren driver. Does he get the move done? He does, way before the corner. But look at this. Raven is trying to defend Ewan straight away. He sensed that Ewan was coming, but he's gone off. Oh no, he's gone off a little bit there. So that's Ewan up into P6 already. Z-Tex, and Raven gets past him, and a bit of touching. I think Raven has been forced off. They are starting to struggle a little bit there. Humperdinck's in the pits then. Will Humperdinck go on the intermediates? We'll see. I do see intermediates from the pit crew, and yes, it is intermediates. So Humperdinck, Pietro, Lefted, and LGS have taken the gamble.
I think it's maybe a bit early for these guys. Obviously, it's cooling down a little bit, the weather, but I don't think it's intermediate conditions at the moment. I feel like a couple more laps on the wet compound tyre, and then switch on to the intermediates. Obviously, we've still got quite a bit to go. The intermediates, they can stretch. It'll be a bit hard for these guys to stretch it all the way to the end of the race. I feel like they maybe could do it because they are very skilled, and obviously a tier 1. But whether or not these guys will, these guys in the wets, whether or not they will want to box anytime soon, that will be something to look out for. Obviously, the front runners, this is going to be a huge turning point for these guys. SSR Bullets, Jam Pancakes, Adam Dude, these guys that are miles ahead of those behind him. Shazoo Ewan, he's got absolute acres to make on Amazed in P4. So whether or not he'll actually want to gamble this lap, choose to go into the intermediates and try and get the undercut, this strategy has sort of, it's brought new light onto the race, because now this is all sort of about strategy and less about who can win in the train battles. At the moment, it does look like the intermediates are a bit slower, but them being a bit slower now could sort of compensate for these next couple laps where those on the wets are going to also be staying out when it's intermediate conditions. Raven, he throws it into the pit lane. He was definitely needed to. There's a McLaren behind him, Zetex as well, also into the pit lane. Those are the only two on this lap, I believe. I don't think Connor Eddy will. No, he won't. And that's Tribbian also into the pits. So a lot of guys going on to the intermediate tyres. I don't feel like it is the faster tyre at the moment, because you can really tell when it is the fast tyre, because fastest laps start getting set. That's when you can really tell that there is a change in the conditions. At the moment, I feel like they may be similar pace due to how I'm watching Humperdinck control the car. He seems maybe a bit slower, but obviously these guys are all fighting with each other, and now it's starting to level out the playing field here. So I feel like this will definitely be the lap where all the front runners start to box, because it's been quite a while on these hards, and they could probably pull the intermediates until the end. So I reckon it'll be this lap or the next lap that will probably be the box onto the intermediate tyres. And maybe later in the race, this is a huge shout, it could even go onto slicks maybe, because the dry line has become a lot more prominent, the spray has become a lot less just over the last couple of laps. So it does prove that weather changing is very, very quick. It's snap your fingers, it's from wet conditions to intermediates. And Jam Pancakes, he's into the box. That could be a big move here, and whether or not it will be worthy of time.
The inters are the right tyre. The inters are the right tyre. Humperdinck has set purple sector 2. So if you guys are not on the intermediate tyres now, go into the pits now. They're going to see potentially Humperdinck getting the fastest lap of the race. If he carries on like that, he's going to come across the line now. Potentially, actually, no, he's not going to come across the line now, but here we go. Jam Pancakes in, Bobbert's in, Adam Dude in, Amaze in, Ewan in, Christo in, Clenzo in. And is Connor Eddy going to go in? Yes, he is. I believe, actually, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
So everyone is going in right now. And Humperdinck, yeah, it is definitely the right tyre. You were talking about this, about the fastest lap, to see if it's a big giveaway, and that's definitely a big giveaway. Oh, Humperdinck with the send on Amaze. Those two fighting crazily right now. I mean, the undercut, that's worked really well for Amazed. The overcut, actually, not the undercut. The undercut didn't work for Humperdinck. So Amazed up into P4, Humperdinck up into P5, but the top three remains unchanged. They timed that strategy really, really well, and they've kept their 1, 2, 3 in this field.
Yeah, Amazed has lost. He's lost. I don't think he's lost time to Raven, who was provisionally behind him. Humperdinck, undercut of Dreams, worked like a treat for him. He does have that little bit more tyre wear, which I mean is quite bad on the intermediates, especially in the wet conditions. It's probably a bit less tyre wear than if he was too early in dry conditions, but his worked a treat for him. He's right on the back of Amazed. He was sitting in around P7 Humperdinck before he went into the pits, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But now he's up into P5 and he's right on the back of P4. Amazed had a huge gap behind him, and his gap between Adam Dude has not changed because they did box on the same lap. But Humperdinck, he was looking slower, but because those 2 odd laps where the intermediates were so much faster, he's been able to make all that time back and more, to the point that he's now been able to gain all of this time on people like Raven, Zetex, and Ewan has dropped to P8. So, I mean, it's worked for him. It's worked for him very well. And though Amaze does look faster, Humperdinck, if he can defend his position, he's done a very, very good strategic move there. And obviously the front runners staying as they are.
Yep, as well, Raven's gained a bit of time, and you can see fastest laps going left, right and centre for all of these drivers. They are getting used to the circuit. It's going to be a lot easier for these drivers to manage on the intermediate conditions, and I've noticed it's gone it went to winters quite quickly actually. You can actually see the track now. You could brake a bit earlier. Actually no, you could brake a bit later than in the full wets, and they are finding it, well, a bit more bearable. I think I would find it a bit more bearable being on the inters around China than being on the mediums or the softs. I mean, it's less hot, you can control the temperatures a bit more, and you can last to the end of the race as well. No problem at all. I don't know if it's going to go to slicks, but it is possible. That they didn't tell me that. They thought it was going to be full wets for the entire race, but you know, they may have not looked fully into this, I don't know. There has been a few situations where I've told the commentators the wrong weather. I thought it was going to be just full wets for the whole race. It turned out it was going to be slicks at the end, so yeah. So, but you never know, it could happen.
Slicks coming out will be very it'll be very hard for the drivers to time, because obviously the softs, Ewan, he's just absolutely flown past Raven. Raven didn't stand a chance. He just had to sit back behind him, and I think no, Christo did not make a move. But the slicks for the drivers, it'll be quite hard to time. Obviously the softs not lasting, just not lasting. There's no much more than needs to be said. This is not a soft tyre. Ewan getting a penalty, that could be very costly for him. It's not a tyre where you want softs on, but if there's only about 5 to 10 laps left, it could maybe be a shout. Obviously, the hards and the mediums, they can last absolutely ages. So, if it does suddenly dry up instantly, it will most likely be a mediums until the end. But I was going to say I don't feel like it would be softs at the end, but I don't feel like it would be intermediates at all from how the weather was looking at the start. So, anyone's guess, really.
Whatever you do, do as soon as it's dry, unless it's 3 laps before the end or so, 4 laps before the end, do not go on the softs. I've learned the hard way. I decided right about lap 18 when it was dry, right, I'm going to go on the softs. I didn't really research how long the softs were going to be, were going to last around this track. It only lasts 5 laps. So that was a gamble I took hold, and the pace just literally dropped after lap 7, and I was struggling so much. So hopefully the drivers won't make the same mistake as me. I have warned them though, by the way, but yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. We might get a situation where it's still raining, but it will be enough for slick tyres. We'll have to wait and see. The spray might just go, and it might just be chucking it down. I'm not entirely sure, but anything can happen. We've got 13 laps of this Grand Prix. This has been absolutely amazing to watch so far in terms of strategy. Like, we're still seeing a train from, I think, P8 all the way down to P11. I mean, coming up soon. Also, P8 until we've got Z-Tex and Christo potentially lining up for a move soon. And most of these guys do not need to pit again unless, obviously, the tyres start to degrade a bit. Christo gets a 3-second time penalty, so he's been exceeding track limits quite a bit. I have seen a few people cutting corners today, which hasn't given them much of a track limit warning, so they have been told, but if it hasn't been caught on stream, obviously they can get away with it, but you know, we shall see. I don't think there's any other battle, so it's just plain sailing from here on in at the moment, but we need to keep an eye on Christo and Z-Tex.
Obviously the wet conditions does make it a lot harder, especially on the release attraction. Around the last corner, the turn won't be as strong in these wet conditions. Especially as it's just sort of gone to intermediate conditions. They'll probably be getting used to it a lot more. Vision also, it's getting clearer. It's not as clear as in slicks or something like that. But especially when you're in a train, sort of braking zones are quite a bit harder. They've been asked to compensate for their time lost. But a few of them been given some good penalties. Not good penalties, been given penalties for exceeding track limits. And they've been quite fair so far. Obviously, as I said, wet conditions, it's a lot harder to sort of time your braking zones to perfection, and Christo nearly losing the car there, still proving that just getting a touch of that wet line still is not fun. But the trains, they're still going. If there was DRS, then this would be one hell of a battle going on here. But some amazing racing fights. Some of the guys you would not expect up there. No, there's more penalties for Christo. Obviously, that hairpin is something really to watch out for. So track limits aren't too severe on this circuit, that hairpin can be a killer. You can get a 5-second just by cutting the apex slightly. But as you can see, just through watching it now, these guys are starting to get to grips with the track a lot more. Just compared to last lap, a lot less people went wide at all on that last turn. So it's just people are starting to get used to the conditions, used to their braking zones, and sort of to learn more about their car and how to sort of use their setup compared to what it was in full wets. And Christo's gone for an absolutely huge dive bomb. He's had to pull out there, but he's still got a little bit of a clip on a ZTEX. Luckily, nothing too big happening between those guys, but still been some very strong racing between these guys, even in these conditions. They're pushing more and more each lap, and as you can just tell by Christo there, sometimes they're pushing a little bit too much. And when you're in a train, that can be quite costly. Christo's dropped back a bit, but luckily, it's just not a one-on-one battle, and ZTEX and Raven slowing down a little bit more, allowing Christo to catch up the time that he lost before. But wow, I've just checked the gaps at the front, and these guys are completely romping away with it.
16 seconds to Adam Dean and Bobberts. I don't think Bobberts would be expecting it. One of my driver of the days got to be Bobberts. And obviously, you know, he hasn't made any mistakes at all. I think he must be having a boring race so far, but he will probably take P2 any day at the moment, as I'm having problems with the party again, but hopefully we should have less problems soon. But yeah, oh my goodness, Raven and ZTEX are going to have a battle towards the final corner. I didn't see this coming at all. That was a very, very, very late braking from, I think, ZTEX there. They're going to run across the line towards turn 1. Oh, they touch. Ooh. This is very, very tight between those two. Turn 1 and 2. And oh, look at this. Christo dives on ZTEX. ZTEX made a mistake. Christo says, thank you very much. If you're not going to get the move, I'll get the move. But ZTEX is coming back and says, you know what? I have woken up, and here you go. That's the position gone for you. So ZTEX back up into 8th. Raven in 7th place. I mean, you know, this could be some solid points for him if he keeps it up. I'm not going to jinx things too much here. We've got 11 laps to go of this race. And this train from P7 all the way to P11, it's going to be intense.
And I've just checked there. ZTEX got a bit of wing damage. In a wet setup, you have a lot of differential between your wings. So you just want more downforce, really. You're not pushing too much on the straights. Obviously, that's where you're going to get most positions done. But you're going to want a lot of traction, and to have wing damage like that can be really costly. Raven's noticed that. He's just got away, and ZTEX is not letting Christo through at all. Christo must be getting a little bit frustrated here, but I reckon he's just going to get the move done right now. Yes, he does. Ewan also moving up positions, and Ewan has gained absolutely barrels on Amazed and Humperdinck. This could be really crucial for the championship, and Amazed is the only thing that really stops him between him and pushing on to catch the top 3. And still a lot of laps to go, so still a lot of potential, and who knows what could happen if there is a change of weather. Who knows? It could be another gamble for those changing and those not. The dry line is getting a lot thicker now, you can tell, but rain is still coming down heavy, and spray is still quite severe. Pietro lefted, and Clenzo and Tribune also joining that train because of the sort of incident that happened in turn 1 last lap. So a lot of people getting closer and closer together, and big dive by Christo. He's touched Raven there. Raven, brilliant save. We've got to give it to him there. He definitely I definitely did not see that coming, and another sort of misjudged braking zone by Christo, but Raven, nice save, yeah, nice catch of the car, and ZTEX not being able to keep up because of even the slightest wing damage. Just an end plate gone has made this much difference to him, and he could just keep falling from now on, depending on whether or not he'll be able to keep himself going. But Christo catching Raven. Raven, he's looked quite strong in the full wets. He's not looking as strong in the intermediates. Still a very good position for him, getting some points on the board for Red Bull. Connor Eddy, saying can't be said for him. He's down in 14th, but Christo now switches when to overtake. got that slipstream. No DRS, obviously, due to the wet conditions, but he has got Raven, and that does look to be the move done for now.
Whilst I was seeing that, I saw Pietro almost going for a move there as well, or the likes of Cristo as well. I mean, Pietro, it's not over for him. He's sensing an opportunity for these guys if they make a mistake, so he's going to sit back for now and just wait. I mean, he doesn't want to cause that much trouble coming towards the final corner, as Raven is doing brilliantly on. He's dropped a bit of time on Cristo at the moment, but he could gain it once we get onto the back straight pretty soon. 8 laps to go, 9 laps to go of this Chinese Grand Prix. Every race so far this season has brought out its best for these drivers, and this has not disappointed at all. They've all done amazing, and Raven, I don't know how he's catching up to Cristo. Amazing, he's gained quite a bit of time on sector 1, and Pietro could do the same right now. Forget about the top 3 right now. This is the midfield battle show from P4 all the way down to P9, so we're going to pay attention to that. I feel bad for the top 3, to be honest, as we're not giving much coverage, but you know, we are covering the action that is on track at the moment. And look at Ewan though. Ewan's on Amaze again. It's Amaze versus Ewan. Amaze, we did see a battle with him last time about in USA, but this time this is for actual position. Can Amaze do the defense of dreams here like he did at USA? I don't think he's going to back off that much. Look at Amaze, he's going to defend to the outside. Can Ewan hold on to the inside? Amaze with that switchback. He keeps P4 from Ewan, one of the fastest drivers on this game on Xbox. Amaze, I applaud you.
Amazed. He's the defending genie. He somehow managed to defend. Obviously, he didn't have to defend against DRS this time, so I feel like that probably would have been game over unless he'd forced Ewan off the track. But he just takes that inside line, and his car just goes super sane on the straights there. Even with Ewan having that slipstream, which is ever so powerful in this game, still nothing occurs. Ewan, he tries the outside again. No, that's not happening. He's not going to be able to try it this hairpin because he's lost a little bit of time there from a little bit of a slip up. But Amazed again, amazing. Just always on that defence. I mean, yeah, he did lose quite a bit of time to Ewan. Ewan has been on the hunt. He's been smelling blood this whole race, and he's constantly been catching everybody, no matter who it is. He's been on their trail, and
I think it's inevitable, really, for Ewan to try and catch up to Amaze, to be honest. I mean, he's got to get the move done sooner rather than later.
Really prominent positions.
Here comes Ewan. Oh, this is really, really tight. Really, really tight for Ewan. He can do this. He knows Amaze can defend for his life. Hopefully this won't be seen as contact right now. Amaze, where is he going to defend this time? He defended to the outside this time. He's probably going to do the same, but he knows Ewan might come back from him on the inside again. So I think Amaze has got to think tactically and do exactly the opposite to what he did in the last lap, because otherwise Ewan will think better of it. But Ewan can read his mind, and Ewan spun a bit. Oh, I think that was a bit risky from both of them, but Amazed. I think Ewan just, I think, probably read our minds. He knew that Amaze was going to do the exact opposite to what he did the previous lap, and he went for it, but just did not work. So Amaze still P4. Ewan losing a chunk of time of that. Is that damage I see on that car? I can't tell in these wet conditions. No, he's fine. He's fine for me. So game on for Ewan and Amaze for the final stage of the Grand Prix, and we've got Lefted and Z-Tex in the pits then for their final stops. I only need to actually double check.
Mediums.
Actually, wait, what? Mediums? What? Is it dry?
Still a lot of spray. I think that was the wrong decision by a mile.
Yeah, that is completely wrong. Completely wrong, unless the game tells us otherwise. Oh my goodness! Oh, sector 1. Who's that? That was a McLaren.
That was a big. That is Z-Tex.
Yeah, that is Z-Tex. So he's now down in 15th place. And you can see LGS, he's been struggling all this way. So we haven't talked much about him. He's down in last place. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of words. Oh, we got some battles.
It's Ewan. He's done it, I think. Finally, he's had to get a little bit of elbows out with Amaze. Amaze doing one of his defensive moves where he just gets there somehow. And I think he's going to look for the inside now. He does. No way. He's probably going to go a bit deep here. No, he's going to have to cover the switchback though, and he does. He manages to get his back wheel just on Ewan's front wheel, so if he tried to get the switchback, it would not work at all. So, Amazed. Whoa!
Contact!
That's going to be damage. That's going to be damage, and that's allowed Humperdinck. Humperdinck is just swept by there. Has Amaze got damage? Have they both got damage? I don't think Amaze does, because that was just Ewan on his rear wheel there.
Ewan definitely has damage. His end plate is fully gone. You can see
there. That's gonna hurt a lot for him.
And Humperdinck, I could see he's got damage. Ow, Humperdinck.
Humperdinck's gonna get that removed, definitely. He's just doing two illegal overtakes. I don't think that was not his fault.
That is definitely not his fault. Oh, Maze trying a good dive bomb, but I don't think that's gonna work, my friend, around that hairpin. I've seen other people done that before.
These guys are mental. They're fighting as if it's dry conditions. They do not care at all that they're only used intermediates. They are going absolutely head to head here. And they are fighting for fifth like it's first. And again, Maze, he's going to have to try it on the straight. He's got a little bit more ERS, and obviously he's got an end play. But shoved off by Ewan. Ewan's not giving this up at all. He knows that every point means everything for his championship position. These guys have been a bit controversial with their defending manoeuvres, but I feel like it's been moderately legal within the boundaries of it's been classed as just a racing incident, all of them. But I don't feel like Amaze can get this one. He's chosen not to use any RS on the straight, and he's completely dived it. Ghosting has just saved Ewan so much. That is incredible how they didn't touch there. Don't know why Amaze goes there, but it's saved Ewan loads, and they haven't touched at all. But this is now going to be the part of the track where Amaze is going to be catching loads because of that wing damage from Ewan. Humperdinck now a second and a half away in fourth. Been a great race from him. He's been, again, as I always say, Humperdinck, Adam Dudes, they're always just there in the conditions where someone else, these guys are fighting. They just come along, take both positions, they're up 2 positions. It's always those guys, and I don't know why. But I don't think Humperdinck's complaining at all.
Yeah.
And he's gaining more and more time on Ewan.
Yeah, he is. He's gained 1.8 seconds clear of Ewan now. I mean, he'll take that any day at the moment. I mean, we've seen the drivers who we expect to do well fall down the race side a little bit, well, apart from Jam Pancakes, he's taken control of this, I mean, for the whole race. And here we go, Maze. He's lost another position to Christo, out of all people. Christo with Ascender Dreams. He's up into P6. You can see that the damage that Amaze might have hindered him more than we know. But I'm not sure if it's damage or not. Even if it is, it might just be lime green damage that he's got. But you can tell he's lost a lot of time. Oh no, he disconnected. He disconnected from the session. So that is game over, I think, for Maze then. For this race, well, to get potentially Ewan as well. So that is unfortunate, I think, Dicer.
Definitely. He was looking extremely strong, and obviously I feel like he was maybe lagging quite a bit before. It was definitely disconnection, I feel like, more than a leaving on his own. But I've just seen behind him, that's a Toro Rosso and a Red Bull going at it, and Clenzo's also taking a position on Raven. Raven's been pushed down to 10th there, and he's been given a 3-second. That was a great move by those two, and they've all gone into the pits, and it's soft conditions, I think. Adam
DRS enabled!
Risk.
DRS enabled!
Oh, this could be horrible. No.
Adam Dude's done it! Adam Dude has nailed it.
SSR Bobbits and Jam Pancakes have all gone into the pits, but it's put them on intermediates.
Oh, no. So their lead is going to be completely wiped out.
Oh.
Can Adam Dude win this race?
Is that amazed his AI? Provisional T2.
Ewan's out!
This could be a... Yo! What's happened there?
Safety car, oh my goodness.
Oh my...
What is going on? Where did Ewan retire?
I'm not sure. Oh, he's just at the it's at the long right-hander. He lost it, and then he must have just hit the barriers at the end.
Yeah, that's gonna throw off. Oh, that's gonna throw the top two a lifeline though. I think they were hoping for a safety car.
Tribune LGS has been given a drive-through.
A lot of penalties today. I mean, the stewards in this game are really harsh, I must say. But you know, that's gonna help Jam Pancakes with his championship charge. Could this be a wake-up call for him? I mean, I'm gonna look at the standings quickly, but we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be surely just a one-lap safety car. I hope the safety car doesn't go to the end of the race. Come on, if it does, I am gonna be so annoyed. But here comes Jam Pancakes then, and Bobbits, as well as Christo, as well. I think the gap is gonna be just about enough for them to be in the lead. I think still. I know Jam Pancakes will. But what about Bobbits? It's going to be close. And let's see where Adam Dude is on the track. Yeah, Jam Pancakes is still going to be in the lead. And Bobbits. Oh,
It's been extremely close. Nope. I think.
Bobbits is ahead.
Will he be given
just
a legal
about
overtake there though? Because he was just outside.
Adam Dude second.
No.
Adam Dude second.
Adam Dude's up into second. They have been able to switch positions there, and that's just been a complete switch for them. Those two are definitely be fighting, but everything's been completely blown up here. Christo's been able to get up to P4. He's managed to make that work for him. Humperdink's been put on the intermediate, so he's going to have to box again. That's really hurt him because he was in provisionally P3. That's going to push him right the way down. But Jam Pancake still leads, and it's Adam Dude in second, and it's Bobbits in third. This is crazy. And
LGS needs to pit. LGS, you can see that LGS is struggling. So this has been everything. It's had a safety car. We've started 4 wets. We've had inters. We had dries. You know, I've never seen a race like it, and it has to happen to be. Actually, I have, and it was China. So China does like to bring a safety car in this lap. So it was quite a short safety car. So the ones behind are not being allowed to catch up, sadly, but, you know, that's not going to help their tyres for sure, but that's going to help Jam Pancakes and Adam Dude. Z-Tech's gaining a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. It's up to Jam Pancakes now, and Z-Tex has retired from the session for, I don't know where he's retired, but...
just in the pits, I think.
Yeah, in the pit lane. Hopefully that won't be another safety car course, hopefully. We shall see. We can see on the map, actually, that the safety car is going to come in soon. Jam Pancakes is pulling up a big gap to the safety car, so he means business. But Adam Dude and SSR Bobbits could still be on the hunt to win as well. This is far from over. The top 3 haven't got any penalties. So this is race from lights to flag for these guys. Jam Pancakes has got a great start. And so is Adam Dude as well. Bobbits didn't get off to a great start either. Christo's already on the back of him. Humperdinck, he has gone from bad to worse. He's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. That's going to drop him way down into 12th or even 13th place. Actually, 12th place, actually. That's not what he wants. And Maze, he is now up into 8th place. Hopefully, we would have been up to 4th place after that issue. But, you know, they probably weren't expecting this to be on their radar. I mean, it's going to be absolutely intense. Last couple of laps. If you just joined us for the Xbox One F1, where have you been? It's been absolutely intense. And Maze has left the session once again, so I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a bit too late to for him to join back. Flying Rosie though, it's gonna get glory for getting fastest lap though. So you know that I'm sure a few people will go faster than that though. Jam Pancakes is absolutely flooring it right now, but still the battle for second reigns on. All it takes, Dice, is for any one of those top 3 to make a mistake, and that's the win gone.
Definitely, and I really am hoping with all my might that Bobbits does not get stripped of another podium. He's been super unlucky recently. Raven P6 as well. this has changed everything completely. Humperdinck, he was P3 provisionally. He's now down into 10th. Everything has been flipped on his head from the safety car, and SSR Bobbers sweeps past Adam Dude, and I don't think Adam Dude's going to have the might to fight back unless he gets a switchback. No, he does not. That is SSR Bobbers back into second, and that is where we were before the safety car. Christo dropping back a little bit, but he has got a massive gap because he was the last one on the actual safety car train before the safety car came in. Obviously, everyone else behind, miles back, due to everyone boxing, thinking they'll catch up with the safety car, and nobody doing so. But everyone looking very strong in the top four. Jam Pancakes romping away with it. These 25 points can mean everything for him in the championship, especially as we are in the second half. But it's the final lap of the race now, and it does look like it's just SSR Bobbers and Andude in the fight for P2. Christo dropping back a little bit. No DRS will be enabled for this whole race, and penalties still coming into things. So many penalties getting thrown up at once there. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Hopefully people like Raven will keep that position, because that would be so needed for them and their team. But as we go down through these last few corners for the last time today, Jam Pancake still leading pretty strong. SR Bobbers, he's got a nice grip on this track. He seems very strong, and he has for the whole evening really. I haven't really seen him slacking at all, but I feel like unless something big happens at this hairpin, I don't think Adam Dude's going to be able to get the move done. He is gaining slowly, but it's not going to be enough at all. It's going to be Jam Pancakes here for the final time tonight. He's just going to go through the final corner now, and the winner of the Chinese Grand Prix is Jam Pancakes, followed by Adam Dude, by Bobbers, who finally got a podium, and Adam Dude again with another podium, just being there and sweeping it up. Crazy race by those guys, and finally another podium for Bobbers and Adam Dude.
Oh no, Raven got a penalty! So he's down into 7th, but I think due to the fact Amaze has left the session, I think Raven will get P7, but... What? Tribune 20-second time penalty, unserved drive-through.
Oh
what?
Yeah, he got a drive-through from the safety car.
Oh, wow. Okay, I've never seen that in this game, but there we go. Jam Pancakes. I've just done a bit of maths. The gap before between Ewan and Jam Pancakes was 17 points. Due to the fact Ewan has retired and Jam Pancakes has taken a win, Ewan has now dropped to 2nd in the championship. Jam Pancakes is leading by 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 27 points. This could mean everything. This is going to be a close championship between these two. I think this race has been a game changer for these top two. The last time Jam Pancakes was leading the championship was Bahrain and obviously Britain. Bahrain was the only time he was leading the championship. Every other race Ewan has been leading the championship, so yeah. Well done to Jam Pancakes.
It's been an amazing race by the top three. They've completely taken it away, and yeah, Jam Pancakes still leading the championship by 8 points, I believe. Was it 17 before, yeah?
It was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 28 points. I can't do maths. Sorry. Thanks, Dicer. But yeah.
Great race. Truly deserved. All three of them. They pulled off a spectacular race. I mean, they got no coverage, but does that matter, really? Like, when you've got a 19-second gap, doesn't matter if you get much coverage. Not really. But they got it towards the end, and they got the praise they deserved. It's been a great race from those guys, and cracking race, amazing last couple of laps, and to be able to go from full wets to slicks in 28 laps, I did not see that coming at all.
I think we lost 2 drivers from that, and that was Ewan and Zetex right towards the end. To be honest, I was shocked that we didn't get any more retirements at the start. That's how they kept it under control. But I was going to give Driver of the Day to Adam Dude, but I gave it last week to him. So, because of his great overtakes and how he's gone from 13th on the grid to 5th, I'll have to give it to Christo. But I know you're going to probably choose something different.
if I had to choose, probably have to go. I don't know. I didn't do the rest of the Bobberts. I'd probably go Bobberts just because he's been so unlucky recently, and I feel like he deserves it. He's been stripped from podiums for like the last 3 races, so he's definitely happy to be back up there, and he has the pace too. He's an extremely fast driver, and just the gap he pulled out between he was less than 5 seconds away from Jam Pancakes and around 19 at one point in time to Adam, dude. It was huge, and he just put you could tell he put so much practice in, and he cared so much about the whole race. He was nurturing his car and making sure he did the right strategy at the right time, not making any mess ups. And even when he got put on the intermediate tyres, because the game decided to put him on it when he was meant to be on the softs, he still managed to get P2.
That's his best result as well of the season. His best result was P3 in Bahrain, and he got a P2 here tonight. So, yeah, I think your different driver of the day, I think I could agree on that Bobbert and Christo are our driver of the day. Who your driver of the day? Let us know in the chat. And Amaze was almost getting close to driver of the day, but his mistake towards the end, towards the dry stint, just didn't pay off for him. But that is it then for the Chinese Grand Prix. Thank you so much for watching in this late hour. Make sure you guys are staying home and staying safe in your lockdown situation. I need to check where we are next week. Actually, I do believe we're on Australia next week, I believe. So that's going to be interesting. It's usually expected to be the first race, but in a first time in a while, we're going to see that as the 8th round. That should prove some interesting strategies.
Definitely. Australia, it's a good track. It's a class of road track, but it's nowhere near it really. It's a very fun track, and probably the most raced on the game, just because it's first on the calendar. So it should definitely hold some thrills and spills, and should be a great race.
I predict it's probably going to be close, so make sure you watch the same time next week at 9 PM BST for the Australian Grand Prix. I've been JessGames95. Thank you, Dyson, for joining me in the commentary box as always.
Thank you for having me here. It's been great.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week for the Australian Grand Prix. Have a good evening, everybody. Goodbye.